Hello and welcome back to our CDA community here on school. This video is going to walk you through just putting your whole entire CDA resource collection or your resource binder, whatever you want to call it, just kind of putting it all together. Before sitting down with this video, I just really encourage you to already have all of your resources together and also have your competency statements wrote. What you will also need, which if you need help with your, let's see, some items that you'll need in your resource binder, you need to have, of course, your resource collection, which I do have a whole video here in school under classroom. That helps you gather all of your resource items together. There's another video on how to write your competency statements. And then there's another video on how to write your philosophy statement. So hopefully you have all those items before you sit down with this video, because this video is about putting that all together then. You also want to make sure that you now have one of these books. This is the CDA competency book. The blue one is for a home provider. Infant toddler teachers, you're going to want the yellow. So make sure you have your yellow book here with you as we put this all together. And if you're a preschool teacher, you want the green book. Okay, so make sure that you have these because I will be referring to these. There's items that you will need in these books in order to put your binder together. It doesn't matter what CDA you're obtaining, whether it's home provider, preschool, infant toddler, your binder setup is the same. All right. All right. So what we are going to do is I'm just going to walk you through, now that you have all those items, exactly what needs to go in your binder and what that order is going to be. Now, you don't always have to use a binder, it's just that that's what most people use. This is like a 2.5-inch binder. And it's real important to only put the items that they want in here. I know I was a CDA, a PDS specialist, so I went and did CDA observations for the CDA Council. I did that for about 5 or 6 years. And oftentimes I would sometimes come across and I would be reviewing someone's CDA resource collection, and they would have a whole bunch of other stuff. And it was great stuff, but it wasn't required in the collection. And so it made it very hard for your tester to really be able to kind of make sure that you have what you're supposed to have when you throw a whole bunch of other items in there. So please do not do that. Okay, you only want to have in here what they are requiring you to have. All right, so this is just the front of my this is my practice, or what I use for training, my training CDA resource collection. I just simply wrote CDA resource collection and my name, Donna Keith. Of course, make yours a little prettier, type it out, color it, you can put a nice little picture, whatever. Or you don't have to have a cover at all right? All right. So the very first thing that you are going to have, this is called my CDA professional portfolio. And this is the first document that is required in your binder, if you're using a binder. And you are just going to want to fill this out. So where do you get this form? You get it in this book. So again, the blue book if you're a home provider, the yellow book if you're an infant toddler teacher, and the green book if you are a preschool teacher. So you will take your book, regardless of what color it is. You're going to go back to the very, very back of the book. Here in the very, very last pages, you're going to see a whole bunch of pages that can actually be tore out in the back of your book. And this is where you're going to find, see right here, it says my CDA professional portfolio. Okay. You can see that it's created so that you can tear it out. You're going to want to tear this page out of your book and fill it out and then put it right here in your binder. What it's asking you is just a checklist to make sure that you actually have all of these items in this binder. So check them all off, sign and date. You can see I put my name here, Donna Keith, and then right here it says candidate ID number. I get a lot of questions on this. People are like, where do I find my candidate ID number? You will not receive a candidate ID number until you have gone to www.cdacouncil.org and you have actually registered with the CDA Council, telling them that I have completed my 120 hours, I have completed my professional portfolio, and I am ready to schedule my CDA test. At that point in time, when you register on the CDA website with the CDA Council, they will give you a candidate number. So once you receive that number, then you can put it in here. And I do have a video also that walks you through step by step how to go to the council website, how to register to let them know you're ready for your test, all of that. So that's in another video here in school. All right, so that's the first thing you're going to have. Then right here, the second thing you're going to have right here is it says summary of my CDA education. And so this is where, and again, where are you going to find this document? You're going to find it in this corresponding book. So again, whether you have the yellow book, the green book, or the blue book, again, go right back to the very back pages. You will see pages that were created to be tore out, and you can see it is right here. This one says, summary of my CDA education. You will tear this page out of your book and then place it right here in your binder. All right, it's asking for your name, and it's asking you to initial that you are stating that you received at least 10 hours of training in each one of these categories, and then you'll sign and date. So that's just your signature required there. Then what you also want to put is whatever organization you took your CDA through, whether it was through a college, whether it was through an online course, you want to put a copy of your certificate showing that you have 120 hours, and then you also want to include a breakdown of the hours, all right? So any organization that you took your training through should provide you with something saying how many hours of training you received in each one of those required areas of competency. So, do you put any other college degree that you have in here? No. Do you put a copy of your high school diploma in here? No. Do you put all the other bukus of trainings that you have in here? No. The only thing that your CDA tester wants to see when they come to review your binder is the proof that you have the 120 hours and what a breakdown of those hours were. That's the only thing you want to put there. All right. So then the next thing that you need in your binder, it's this, your family questionnaires. So this is a family questionnaire summary sheet, okay? So hopefully by this point in time, you have passed out your family questionnaires and you have already received your family questionnaires back. If not, then you need to do that in order to complete your portfolio, and you will have to have those all returned before your observation. So once again, go back to your competency book, again, regardless whether you have the blue one, the yellow one, or the green one. In the back of the book, again, where all those pages are that can be tore out, you are going to see, it says family questionnaire. They give you one copy in English, and then you are also provided another copy in Spanish. So you will want to make copies, tear it out, and make copies and pass those out to your families. Your families will return them, you will review them, and then you will place them in your binder. So you are going to tear out the form that says Family Questionnaire Summary Sheet. And then you will need to complete this. So you can see I put my name, Donna Keith. And then, of course, once you have your candidate ID number, you will complete that. It asks you how many family questionnaires did you pass out. So I put here that I passed out 15 and I received 12 back. They want you to collect at least 75% back. So, if you have 15 children in your room and you passed out, you want to try and get at least 12 back. If you pass out only 10, then you want to get at least 8 back, all right? You want to read those parent questionnaires, and then right here, it is asking you, put an area of strength, and then put an area of weakness. So after you read what your parents wrote about you, you want to pick an area that you have a strength in from what your parents responded, and then an area that you think that you might have a weakness. So for the sake of this exercise, for my area of strength, I put communication with families, and their children enjoy coming to my classroom every day. What was an area of weakness? I put sharing information with families about what their children know and what their children still need to learn. Okay? But you need to fill in these two areas right here. I also highlighted here, just so you know, if I put that I received 12 questionnaires back, then in this one sleeve, do you see how I have just a sleeve here? I use a lot of sleeves for the binder. I put my family questionnaire summary, and then behind it, I just put all the family questionnaires right here behind it. So they're all right in here so that your tester, your observer, can count to make sure that all 12 are there. So if I would have put that I received 8 back, then they want to count to make sure that there's 8 questionnaires in here. Your tester does not read your questionnaires. They're not supposed to. They're not allowed to read your questionnaires. They just need to count that you have the number of questionnaires in there that you said that you had returned. Okay? So that is what goes next in your binder, are those family questionnaires. All right. Then the next thing that you need in your binder, this is called the CDA Verification Visit Reflective Dialogue Worksheet. This you can also find in the back of this book. So again, it's in this blue book, or if you're an infant toddler teacher, it's in the back of this book. So there it is, right here. Again, it was created to be tore out. You're going to tear this out, and that's going to be the next item that goes in your binder. Now, there's pieces of it that you have to complete first. Okay, so you're going to tear that out, and then right here, it says under family questionnaires, put what was your strength and what was your weakness. Well, remember, we already put that right here under your family questionnaire summary sheet. Remember I told you to go ahead and fill this out right here? What was your strength and what was your weakness from your parents' point of view? You're going to put exactly the same thing right here. So in the first column, under A, what did parents say your strength was? And under B, what did your family say your weakness was? Then in column 2, it asks for your opinion. What do you think your strength is, and what do you think your weakness is? Go ahead and fill that in. So when you put this form in your binder, these first 2 columns should already be completed. Leave the last column blank. Your PDS specialist, your observer from CDA Council, they will fill this out. They will actually use this form to do your final dialogue. When they're done observing you, they will step out with you and just have a conversation with you. It's called a dialogue, where they will talk about your strengths and your weaknesses, and they will fill this out and they will tell you what they think your strengths and weaknesses are. On the back, it has a place where your specialists, before they leave you, after they observe you, they will complete this with you, setting some goals with you. Okay. All right. So those are the first items you're going to have in your binder. The very first one, My CDA portfolio, this is just your checklist of everything we're going to have in this binder. You're going to have your summary of my CDA education. And then you're going to have a copy of the certificate that you received from whatever organization you took your 120 hours. You will also put in there the breakdown of the hours. So you can see I have the breakdown of hours right here. And then you're going to have your family questionnaires. You're going to have the summary sheet on top. And then in the same sleeve, just slide all the questionnaires right here behind it. All right, so they're all in the same sleeve. Then you're going to have the CDA Verification Visit Reflective Dialogue Worksheet. You're already going to have column 1 and column 2 completed. Leave column 3 blank. Have it in here ready to go for your tester. All right. Now what I strongly suggest is that you get some tabs. You don't have to have tabs, but it does make it a little bit easier for your tester, your observer, to go through your binder quickly. So your PDS specialist, that is who will come and do your observation at your site in your classroom with children. He or she will need to see you actively engaged with children. They will spend 2 to 3 hours in your program. One of the first things they will do is they will be the ones who will review your resource binder. So you will give this binder to your PDS specialist when they come to your center. They will review it to make sure everything that you're supposed to have in here is in here. That's why I said do not put anything more, just what they want to see. And then they will leave this binder with you when they leave. They do not take it with them. So the more organized it is, the faster they can get through it, and the faster they can determine that you have all the items that you're supposed to have in here. All right, so I would suggest getting tabs. Again, you don't have to. But again, if you go back to the very first page, it tells you to put everything in this order, and it tells you what to put. So we've already done A, we've already done B, we've already done C. So now we are on D. And so that is where we are going to go right here. I labeled this tab D, and I labeled it Roman numeral 1. Because all of your resources that fell under Roman numeral 1 go in this section. So this is section D. You're going to start off with Competency Statement 1. And I would highlight it just to make it very clear. They want to see Competency Statement 1. Highlight that this is Competency Statement 1. What resources go in under section 1? Your first aid and your CPR. And you can see I put resource item, Roman numeral 1-1. That's the first resource. That's what this resource is. That's going to go here. Your next resource, I labeled it RC, Roman numeral 1. This is the second resource in section under Roman numeral 1, and it is your menu. So you can see I highlighted every single one of the resource numbers to make it really easy for your specialist to be able to see what they need to see. So that's a copy of your menu. Resource item number 3 in section 1 is the lesson plan. So here's a copy of my lesson plan. Remember, a part of that was you needed to modify an activity. So I did put modification of lesson plan, and I highlighted it. You can see I simply just wrote it out, but if you want to type it, you can type it. That's everything that goes in that section. Now we are in section E, and it's everything under Roman numeral 2. So again, if you go back to your very front page here, it says in section E, you need to have your resource collection items that were all under Roman numeral 2, and your competency statement that was under Roman numeral 2. So here we are, we're in section E, everything that was labeled Roman numeral number 2. And so that will be competency statement 2. And I highlighted it. Competency statement, Roman numeral 2. And what resources go with that? the 9 learning activities, and I highlighted each one of them. Roman numeral 2, item 1. Roman numeral 2, resource 2. Roman numeral 2, resource 3. Roman numeral 2, resource 4. Roman numeral 2, resource 5. So this one was gross motor activities. So these were your 9 activities. This was your self-concept activity, and then your emotional skill activity, and then your social skill activity, and then your math activity. Right? So I had each one of these activities typed up. Now, for those of you that did watch my video on resources, so if you're struggling with the resources, I have a whole video on resources where I go through every single one of these resources and even give you some examples and ideas. I also offer a template that you could use as well to help gather your resources and make it a little bit easier. All right, so it's everything that goes in that section. Now we're in section F, and it's everything that falls under Roman numeral 3. So here we are. We have competency statement 3. And what resources did you need? Your 10 books. Now here I am going to give you an example of a couple different ways that you can do it. This is an example off of the template that I do provide. Again, if you haven't already watched that video on resources, I do provide a template in there that you can print off or even download it to your computer and you can type right on it. But you could use the resource template where it has a space for all 10 books. So it gives you a spot to make sure that you have 10 books listed and all the information that is needed for all 10 books. That's one way you could put the books in your binder. Here's a little example. You could just throw a book in there. You know, that just kind of makes it a little bit more personable, a little bit different. Another way you could put the books in here is you could just copy and paste from Google. Just Google a book and then copy and paste it onto a Word document. So here's 3 examples of 3 books right here. Here's an example of a 4th book right here that was just copied and pasted from Google right here. Or here's another way that you could put 10 books in the binder. Here is just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 books are listed right there, all just in one Word document. The other 3 are on the back here. And I want to give that example of that. That just shows you 3 different ways that you could put the bibliography or the 10 books in your binder. You could list them all out just on a Word document, all 10 books on one page. You could do each book has its own page. You could copy and paste it like this from Google. You could actually put a book in there. It doesn't matter. There's no right or wrong way to put these resources in your binder. Just make sure they're in there. Doesn't matter if they're written, doesn't matter if they're typed, doesn't matter if they're copy and pasted, doesn't matter if you use a template, it doesn't matter just as long as you have the resources in here. Again, if you want more information on resources, please watch the video that I provide under Classroom here in our school app. All right, so now we're on to section G. So this is everything that falls under Roman numeral 4. So of course we're going to start off with competency goal 4. So competency statement 4, there's the competency statement. And then these are the resources that you needed under Roman numeral 4. You needed translation services. So here you can see everything was labeled. This is RC2, and it does give the contact information on how to get a hold of somebody for translation services. And then I needed a translation service for sign language, so I made sure and put that here, and I specifically put provide sign language, and then I put the contact information and how to get a hold of this organization. Then you also had to have at least two organizations that you would refer families to if they had a child who was special needs. So I did highlight those because it did say to give a brief description. So make sure you put a brief description of each one of those organizations. And you can see I highlight every time I write the resource item down. I do highlight that so that the tester knows what resource I am referring to. So you can see here I wrote RC Roman numeral 4-2. Here is RC Roman numeral 4-3. All right, another resource that you need we're still in section 4, Roman numeral 4, is you need to name at least 3 websites. You could just write them on a piece of paper. You could go to their website and print off their home page. You could just type it up on a Word document. Again, it doesn't matter just as long as it gets in your resource binder. So the websites, my 3 favorite websites that I would refer parents to are, one is NAEYC, another is livestrong.org, and another one is 0to3.org. Doesn't matter what websites you use, just make sure you have your websites, your 3 websites listed, and then you need an article from each one of those websites. Make sure that at least one article is on positive guidance. So right here, I have my 3 articles. So here's one article. Here's another article, and this one is on guidance. So this is on discipline. And then I have another article. This is my article, and I highlighted it's from Livestrong. So those are my 3 articles that coincide with my 3 websites I chose. Now we're in section H, and this is everything under Roman numeral 5. So you are going to have competency statement 5, highlight it, have your competency statement right there. And you are required to put 3 resources in this section. And you can see I have them all labeled RC Roman numeral 5. So this is health and enrollment information, just a blank one. So whatever your enrollment forms are that you use at your program. Well, actually, this one's completed. If you use a completed one, please mark the child's name out. An incident accident report. So whenever a child gets hurt, what form does your state require filled out for an incident report? And then you also needed to have some type of an assessment that you use to assess children. This is just an example of one. I labeled it RC Roman numeral 5. This is one that I pulled off of a website. It's very lengthy. This is another one that I just pulled off a website. Hopefully your program assesses children and you already have something similar. It does need to be completed. So you can see that this one is completed. You want to leave the child's name off of it, but it is completed. It shows what colors, what shapes, what letters this particular child knows. So this is an example of an assessment form that you would use in your program. And again, this does need to be completed. Now we're in section I, and this is everything that falls under Roman numeral 6. So you are going to have competency statement number 6. And then your resources, you need to put whatever the governing organization is that licenses your program. So for every state, that might look different. If you are in the state of Ohio, it is more than likely Ohio Department of Job and Family Services, which has recently changed their name to Youth and Children Department, or you are licensed under Ohio Department of Education. So whatever organization licenses your program, if you're a home provider, sometimes it's down at the county level, but you want to put you know, if you needed to reach out to licensing, or if a parent wanted to reach out to licensing, you want to put the name of the organization and then their address, a telephone number, a website, something that you could get a hold of that licensing organization. And you can see I have it highlighted very quickly. The CDA PDS specialist can quickly see that this is resource item Roman numeral 6, item number 1. Here is the next resource that you need. You need a copy of the licensing rules. Now, they do not want the whole licensing rules. They don't want, you know, licensing rules could be up to like 400 or 500 pages. They don't want all of the licensing rules. But they do want to know that you know how to find the licensing rules for your state. So what rules are you supposed to be following? And they want you to put 2 sections in your resource binder. One section, they specifically want you to find and print off the licensing rules that talk about staff qualifications. And I highlighted it right here. Employee and child care staff member requirements. And so they just want the rules that show what are the requirements to work in child care. The other set of rules that they want is, and you can see again, I labeled it RC Roman numeral 6-1, and I highlighted the licensing rules on group ratios. So they want the state rules on ratios. When can children be combined? When can they not be combined? How many teachers, how many adults need to be with so many children? So all the rules per your state. All right, then in your binder, the next thing that you need is you need at least 2 national organizations. They want to know that you actually went to the website and looked at these organizations and that you understand what the benefits of being a member of these organizations could offer you. You do not need to be a member right now. Now, 3 years down the road, when you want to renew your CDA, you will need to be a member of one of these organizations. But right now you do not. So if you are just now applying for your CDA, you do not need to be a member, although I would strongly recommend being a member of one of these organizations. You get a lot of great resources. So if you just Google national organizations in childcare, you're going to get a million. I just picked 2 of my favorite. One is NAEYC. This is the National Association for the Education of Young Children. I went straight to their website and printed off what are the benefits of being a member. And here it lists what the benefits are. So I did label it resource item Roman numeral 6-2. It's the second resource in this section. And I put that right there. And then my second organization, you can see back here. Again, I have it labeled what the resource is. It is the Ohio Association for the Education of Young Children. Highlighted that and highlighted down here where it says these are the benefits you receive as a member. The last resource that you need in your binder is you need your state's laws on child abuse and who is required to report. So this is resource item Roman numeral 6 and it's item 3. So again, I have that labeled right here. I have it highlighted so my tester could see it very quickly. These are the Ohio mandatory reporting requirements and regulations in childcare. So this is the state law in Ohio. And then back here, it does show who is a mandated reporter. So I highlighted that. So all the information is right here, the state law and who is mandated to report. The last thing that you need in your resource collection is a copy of your philosophy statement. So that is section J of your binder. So I have this labeled J. And then you would put your philosophy statement right here. Again, if you need help writing your philosophy statement, if you haven't already, I do have a video with a kind of short, quick little exercise to help guide you in writing your philosophy statement. All right, so that is a complete CDA resource collection. what it all looks like when you have it all put together in a binder. Again, you can see I used like a 2.5 inch binder. You don't need anything larger than that. Remember, do not put anything extra in your binder. Only put the items that are needed. Everything that you need to add to your binder, you can get out of your competency standard book. So if you don't already have this book, then you are going to struggle putting your binder together. You will have to have this. Also know in the back of this book is also your actual CDA observation. So I have other videos that will walk you through what to expect the day of your test, and how to prepare for your observation. So please, I hope that you have enjoyed this video and that you come back and watch some of the other videos that we offer in school. Thank you.